Welcome in, Cubs fans, to another episode of Cubs on Tap. I am your host, Rich Eberwine, joined by Tyler Edmonds, and I think I speak for most Chicago sports fans when I say we needed this win today. After 3 straight losses by the Cubs, and after what I'll describe as a traumatic Chicago Bears game on Monday Night Football yesterday, the Cubs needed to deliver this for the heart and soul of all of us. Feel 10 times better than I did before this Cubs game. Honestly, before the 8th inning of the Cubs game. So, welcome in. Make sure you go like and follow us on all the socials, all of our X and YouTube accounts, and follow us for articles for our coverage on the Chicago Cubs and all the other Chicago sports teams. And make sure, if you're like us and most other Cubs fans and you shop at Obvious Shirts, to use the promo code ONTAPSports for 10% off your next purchase at Obvious Shirts. Tyler, how are you feeling after this Cubs W today?
The city, and I don't even live in Chicago, Rich, but the city needed this so bad tonight. So bad. Everybody woke up this morning in a pissed. I mean, other than the fact, not to brag, I won my fantasy football matchup yesterday. But just about everybody woke up this morning in a pissy mood. And, most of the game tonight was it just, we were on the edge just a little bit. And then there at the end, sealed the deal. All is good right now. Physically, I'm good. Mentally, right now at this moment, good.
Yeah. We definitely needed a W because it looked like this game. Let's just get right into it. It looked like today's game was like more of the same from the Cubs that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Just getting set down in order multiple times in the game, loading the bases, not coming up with a clutch hit. First inning they get bases loaded, nobody out, score 1 run. 2 men on, 1 out in the 3rd inning, score 1 run. Set down in order 4 times by the Braves starter, Spencer Strider. It didn't look good for a while. Luckily, Alexis Diaz came in and walked a bunch of Cubs, and Matt Shaw came up with a clutch double that scored 3 runs, and it turned things around. And the Cubs put up a 6 spot and were able to quash this little losing streak that they were on. Finished the game 6-1 on the back of, Cade Horton as well, who is looking like the ace of this staff. 6 1/3 innings, 2 strikeouts, 1 earned run, just absolutely shoving since the All-Star break and looking like the game 1 starter. And the Cubs finally gave him some run support tonight and got him a W. So good vibes all around. And what else is there to say, man, about Cade Horton? He's got a 0.8 something since the All-Star break, 2.7 ERA.
That's my NL Rookie of the Year for sure.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, like you said, man, tonight, starting off, it felt like it was going to be the same old song and dance, the same story. Nico Horner at the very first inning with bases loaded had a horrible at bat. Almost had a Javi Baez swing on a slider outside. I mean, no knock on Javi, but it just you get bases loaded, only score 1. Carson Kelly had 2 bases loaded opportunities with no. He had a bases loaded opportunity with less than 2 outs. He had a runner on first and second with 1 out, and struck out both times. And this helped again. Here we go again. But you know what I like a lot about, well, there's a lot of things about Cade Horton, watching him pitch that I like, but the fact that he stays in, he has that I'm going to do my job. That's what I'm focused on. I'm doing my job. I don't care that we've only got 1 run. I don't care that we don't have any runs, that type thing, and goes out and does his job. There was a moment when Ronald Acuna hit a leadoff double, and I was like, shit. Well, hopefully they can only score. Maybe they'll just leave it to 1 run, and gets out of it without scoring anything. And it's just like you said, he's the ace of this staff right now. He is. And that's no diss on Shota. That's no diss on Matthew Boyd, who both have had great seasons, quality start after quality start. Boyd with an all-star the All-Star appearance and everything like that. But right now, Cade Horton is he's the ace. Baseball's
Yeah.
it's a constant. What have you done for me lately? Cade Horton lately is the ace.
Yeah. 0.84 ERA in 53 innings since the All-Star break, 46 strikeouts, 431 opponent OPS in that time. I mean, it's nasty. This is like reminiscent of Jake Arrieta's second half in 2015. And like you said, no knock on Shota, no knock on Matthew Boyd. Like those guys have been amazing for us this year, right? But like Cade Horton is just showing us something that we haven't seen in a while in Chicago, and that's your typical right-handed power pitcher that his fastball sits in the mid to upper 90s. He has the physical tools. He's got the arsenal. He's got a wipeout slider, a good changeup. He can attack the zone, and he's not afraid to attack the zone. And I think that's the most the most impressive thing about him is the fact that he is only 23 years old. He's a rookie. Yeah. This is his first season in the MLB, and he shows this kind of maturity and ability to attack the zone that is just, it's very rare. And he does it
reminiscent of Mark Pryor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's just got that dominance and that X factor, and he's just got balls, man. He's not afraid to attack the zone. And
I love that. He's got that FU about him, and I absolutely love that. And it was nice to see. I think if Nico makes that play right there in the 7th, maybe we see him go just a hair farther. But I honestly thought after six he was done. And I was glad to see Craig letting him out on the leash just a little bit further, because again, if he's our starter in one of these, which he should be in a playoff series, I get it. He's young. I get it. You want to, we got to save the bullets and all that kind of stuff. Don't want to overthrow him and stuff like that. But if he feels right after, let's say he's in the 6th inning of a playoff start, if he feels right still, let him go further, push him out. So it was nice to see him go further out on the leash with Cade.
Yeah. So his last outing, he went 75 pitches. That's when he had those 5 no-hit innings. Tonight he went 87, so a little bit more. And I think that makes sense. We're on September 9th right here, 3 weeks away from the playoffs. So, just slowly kind of extending him a little bit, getting him ready for that 100-pitch outing, getting him used to it. That's the whole point of saving his bullets for, in July and August.
Would you say he probably has 2 more starts left?
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. So I would say these next 2 starts is as far as innings wise and outings and all that kind of stuff, is probably his last 2 that they're really, because I don't know if in that 3rd start you're going to really, that 3rd start, you go 80 plus pitches if you've got a wild card matchup just around the corner. I don't know.
I think only if you need the win, right? If the game
exactly,
matters.
I think only if you're in that situation where you can get home field advantage. I understand that, but if it's already in the bag and everything like that, I would not think that they would leave him out there for so long in that last start. Yeah. So I'm thinking, maybe 2 more starts of something like this, kind of get that arm ready, kind of get that arm conditioned to go that, just to go just a hair further. If he has to go 100 pitches in a playoff game, all right. But it was nice to see that he just threw a little bit more tonight.
Yeah. So the way it's lined up, he's got 1 against Pittsburgh, 1 against Cincinnati, and then his 3rd would be Friday, September 28th against St. Louis.
Against St. Louis.
So I could see.
And that one for sure. Yeah, that one for sure. Again, like you said, it just depends on whether or not if home field advantage is on the line or not. I can see that being the start where, 3-4 innings and then, hey, you're out.
Yeah, ideally it doesn't matter, right? You hand the ball off to Aaron Savali in the 5th inning or whatever. But we will hopefully by then the Cubs will have already clinched the playoff spot. It won't matter, and we can just send the Cardinals packing and have a fun series against them for once.
Yeah.
Or they're not just being assholes, as the Cardinals do. Today's game, definitely a good get-right game for everybody, it felt like. Pico Armstrong looked a little bit better at the plate today. Got on base a few times, swiped a couple bags.
He did.
Got 2 RBIs, which I think is huge. Still, like, coming up short in like the big hit department, I would say. But like, he had bases loaded with nobody out. He drove the ball in the air in the first inning. Like, that's what you want to do. You got the sac fly, you got the RBI. Does he want the home run? Yes, we all want the home run. But
for sure,
he did his job.
You're playing you're down the stretch. Those types. It's nice to see a young guy like PCA do a job like that, especially this close to October, because it's stuff like that. It's the little things like that win you those games in October, because as we all know, you get a couple of runs, you've got that horse on the mound that's going to keep you in for a while. Then, you do the little things like that, and you're going to see success in the playoffs. And so, for PCA to do something like that, that's great. And like you said, obviously it would have been nice to see a big fat grand slam, but he scored a run.
For sure. Got the job done. Ian Happ continuing to stay hot. Got a couple more hits tonight. The other guy that I really wanted to talk about was Ben Brown. So, Horton goes 6
The birthday boy.
The birthday boy, Ben Brown. So Horton goes 6 1/3, right? Kittredge comes in. Thielbar comes in. Those are your primary setup guys now that Daniel Palencia is hurt, because Brad Keller shifts up probably to the closer role. And then in the 9th inning, after the Cubs scored those runs and they had a 5-run lead, Craig Counsell opts to bring in Ben Brown to close out the game. And I got to say, I honestly really liked that decision. It was better than going to somebody like Ethan Roberts or Taylor Rogers or something, because I think Ben Brown has a chance to be a X factor down the stretch here and into the playoffs if they continue to utilize him as a 1-inning reliever. How many times have we seen Ben Brown come in out of the bullpen or in his starts and dominate in the first couple innings, and then do Ben Brown things and start giving up dong shots and leaving the ball over the heart of the plate? But point is, I think he can excel and use his arsenal, uses blistering fastball, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and his like ghost knuckle curveball. I think that can play well out of the bullpen as a 1-inning type of guy, where he just can put it all out there for those 3 batters and just attack the zone. I don't know. I kind of like that. We were kind of talking about it a little bit before we started the show. Like, you want to start him off in these like lower leverage spots like Craig Counsell did tonight, before you give him like a, the ball in like a 1-run lead or something like that. But I don't know. I do, with Palencia out, I do kind of like playing around with this idea and seeing if Ben Brown can be one of those, high leverage setup guys, and if he can get into that circle of trust down the stretch. Because I think he has the potential. It's in there. We've seen him excel at times, and I'm not ready to give up on him, Tyler. I don't know. I know you probably are. But
Rich, in my head, Ben Brown is on the moon right now. But you know what? I like your outlook. If there's a big if, that comes with a humongous if. Like you said, you're going to have to experiment with something with Daniel Palencia. Honestly, if he's, what is he on, the 15-day IL?
Yeah.
And it being a shoulder thing, and it being so late in the minor league season's over. I want to say the playoffs start this week. So I think is it safe to say that Danny P is not going to make the playoff roster? There's a really good chance we don't see. I mean, if we were to see Daniel Palencia on this roster, I don't think it'd be until if they were to make it to the NLCS. I feel like that's the soonest we would see him, just because it's a shoulder thing and all that kind of stuff. You've got to. I don't even know, in my head, I don't even know if Ben Brown makes the playoff roster. I'm not sure, because I was wondering earlier what the pitching roster looks like for a 3-game wild card. Like, does that exclude is a Colin Ray or a Javier Assad? Is one of them 2 out? Are you going to go with a 4-man or a 5-man bench? And And if Ray, if you got, I feel like if Javier Assad, Jameson Taillon, who hasn't pitched much as of late just because of the IL and everything like that, Javier Assad, Colin Ray, JMO, those guys, like if those guys are going to be on the pitching roster for the playoffs, I'm not sure if there is a spot for Ben Brown or not. I'm not 100% sure. But if he's going to remain on the roster for the season, the only situations that I'm throwing Ben Brown in right now would be you have a 6-1 lead tonight. Would I have liked to seen somebody different in there? Yeah. But I can understand where you're coming from as far as you've got to work, you've got to figure something out, and you've got to figure something out fast. Maybe, who knows? He's a year older today. Maybe something's clicked today, and I don't believe in him right now, Rich. Maybe that changes. Just right now, I just can't. But again, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes from the need, because Keller's your closer now, right? And to your point, Palencia 15-day IL, and I was at that game when Palencia. I literally thought he like blew out his elbow. It was one of those scary moments where it's like he throws the pitch and immediately grabs his arm, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, like he's going to be out for a year. They didn't say as much. They said it was just a shoulder strain. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than that. Like, and they're just being out.
I mean, I feel like a shoulder strain is almost like they're not 100% sure. It's something in the shoulder area. We're going to say shoulder strain right now and then figure it out. And if you've ever strained anything, as you know, strains, some could argue that a strain is worse than actually tearing something because you've strained it, and it's like, well, am I ready now?
Is this going away tomorrow? Like,
exactly.
I don't want to aggravate it.
And with the guys young as Daniel Palencia, and to be honest, even before that outing, he didn't look good. He hadn't looked good.
He's been shaky over the last
even let's say he gets out of that outing on Sunday, as far as physically he's fine. I don't know if he's the closer after Sunday. I don't. True. And so back to your point, I know, I think everybody says, Brad Keller's our closer, is going to close right now, I think, but you don't know. You don't know because that's such a different spot than the 8th or the 7th inning. And who's to say that Keller doesn't get in the 9th? And, you ask a reliever to do Keller, for example, who's accepted his role before the closing opportunity. What he's been doing right now, he's accepted that role and he's done a good job at it. It's hard to tell a guy who's gotten comfortable in their situation and has excelled at it to say, hey, we need you to move. We need you to switch jobs right now. And like everybody knows, the last 3 outs of the game, it's the hardest.
Yeah, so it's definitely the most stressful job in baseball.
Yeah, it's stressful. And, who's to say that Keller comes out that his first outing as trying to close a game and it doesn't work. And then it's like, well, then what? Do we go to Kiltridge? Do we go,
Yeah. So, going off of that point, like I would not like to see Kittredge or Thielbar in the closer.
Or Thielbar, yeah.
Like, those guys are great setup men.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't trust Thielbar's off-speed, heavy arsenal in the closer role.
And Porter Hodge, ever since he hurt himself and came back, he hasn't looked the same.
Yeah,
the guy that was closing before Danny P.
Yeah. Porter Hodge, I think he's got like 3 scoreless outings racked up right now. So he's been trending better, but yeah, I totally understand. Like, you can't trust Porter Hodge in the 9th inning right now. But I think you'll like this comment from Andrew. Do you like the idea of Ben Brown coming in as closer?
Well, to go on to Andrew's point and Scott's point just underneath it, adding fuel to the fire, because that guy, we had a little conversation just at the end of the game, and which we were just joking, but same thing. He was like, Ben Brown, new closer. I'm like, I read that and I'm like, don't add fuel. Just don't add fuel to I don't know, but who knows? Maybe Rich, you may be onto something. Maybe he woke up today a year older and something has clicked. And I will say, in our preseason show, our last show where we did all our predictions, one of the predictions, I'm not 100% sure it may have been Ron, that said Ben Brown was going to be this team's closer at the end of the year. And
he's still got a chance for that to come true.
You're right. Could you imagine? And it would, some would say, well, that would be the Craig thing to do, because Craig doesn't know. But how crazy would that be after scoffing up? What has he got? Like a 6+ ERA right now.
He sneaks in as the closer in the.
What if he finished the season as the closer? Wow,
that would be incredible. Ron should just win the or whoever made that prediction should just win the awards.
Win the whole thing. Yeah, you may have just thrown something out to the universe, Rich. That you may have just started something. I don't know.
I like this idea of like playing with like what the playoff roster would look like, because it's like obviously you got 26 man, so 13 pitchers.
So that's a dumb question. Is that a 5-man bench? Or 4-man?
5-man or 4-man bench. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically the normal roster though, and not in September. I think. Yeah, 26 men. So 13 pitchers, right? Cade, Shota, Boyd are probably your game 1, 2,
somewhere
and 3
in that
starters.
order, or 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Tyone would be your 4th starter, I guess, or whatever. Boyd and Tyone back there. Then it gets weird because it's like, do you go with a 5-man rotation or just leave it at the 4-man? Because you have so many options after that. You got Colin Ray and Javier Assad, which either one would be good as a starter if you need him to be, or as the long reliever. I don't know what you do there. Like, do you go? What do you think? Do they do a 5-man rotation, or
depending on just the way things go? If you end up going to a game 3, or if you end up making the next series and you had that 5-game series and everything like that, you've got to keep between Ray and Assad. You're going to have at least one game, I feel like, with this team, no matter how far they go. I feel like you're going to have one game where a starter's going to come out early. It's going to happen. And then it's like, well, then what? Do you waste your entire bullpen on that, or do you throw in a guy like a Javier Assad or a Colin Ray and say, hey, sorry, you're going to have to eat this one? But you've got to have that. But then again, Assad, Ray's done it in the past, I feel like, with Milwaukee, right? I think he's anyways, but
he was a swing man.
And Javier Assad's proved to be he's been a swing man in the past too. And honestly, is Jameson, dare I say, is Jameson guaranteed? Is he guaranteed a start right now?
Well, no, especially because wild card 3 games, right? So
he's definitely not getting a start there, but in a 5-game series,
and then
depending on his last few starts and the fact that he's given up 32, 33 home runs this year.
Yeah. If he's even going to be healthy too.
That's another thing too. You've got to, it even sucks to ask, but it's like, is he healthy? Is he healthy for, and I almost agree here with Scott.
Taking Assad over JMO.
I wouldn't hate it. No, because has Assad been lights out? No, but has he been
pretty solid though?
And JMO's had his moments where he's had some, he may had 2 or 3 good starts in a row, but then he can turn around and give up 3-4 home runs in a game and just completely change the whole dynamic of it. And even in his starts where he's been rolling, and then bam, oh, there's a home run, bam, 2 batters later, here's another one, and it's just, So I don't hate that idea. I don't hate the idea of Assad over JMO. I think JMO obviously makes the roster, but like you said, after the first 3, it gets really, it gets
There's
really
a lot
interesting.
of tough decisions to make.
There really is, yeah. And not even just with that, also with the bench too, because
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way, not to turn this into, a big old conversation about the playoffs, but I mean, there's no way you keep Justin Turner and Carlos Santana on the.
Dude, I don't know why Carlos Santana is on this team, bro.
I don't know. I don't know either. I was on vacation last week and got in the. Oh, you were there. The biggest. I mean, no, not doing it. Not doing it. I'm not bringing it up, but I agree with you, Rich. I agree. I don't know why, but
it's very frustrating. Like, do we need two 40-year-old first basemen who are washed up at the plate starting in the same fucking game? Like, that was ridiculous. I was very, very angry that I was in attendance at the game for both of them to be in the lineup.
I don't even think Santana's gotten a hit since we've got him.
He hasn't. I don't even know if he's gotten a walk.
And I'm pretty sure, I thought I saw a stat where he has the third lowest OPS in the majors, but God forbid, he's a veteran. He's got the experience.
This is an interesting point. You have to take into consideration if the games are at Wrigley and if the wind's blowing in or out.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
I'm glad I'm not a GM because it's tough. Like, and you're constantly like, it all also depends on how these guys pitch in the last few weeks too. Like,
these last a lot of, like you said, most of these the starters, at least in the rotation, have about 3 starts left, and for a guy like JMO, these are 3 big starts, 3 very big starts for JMO for sure. But it's just going to be interesting messing with the roster. It really is, especially when you get closer to the end of the year.
100%. Speaking of roster decisions, the Cubs finally made this move today.
Oh, wow.
Kyle Tucker finally goes to the IL after the Cubs just threw him on the bench for the last 5-6 days with a calf injury. Why have an extra player on your bench when you can just have Kyle Tucker sit in the dugout and do nothing when he's hurt?
Yeah, it's not to turn this into the conversation about his last month he had when everybody was like, well, his hand was fractured or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But like, what are we doing? Did it take 6 days? It took 6 days to realize after Craig himself said, yeah, he'll probably be ready by one of these, close to the end of the series against the Nationals. He'll probably be ready by Saturday or Sunday. And then you come out and say that on Monday he's able to come off the bench, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're just going to throw him on the 10-day IL. When this whole time you could have just said, hey, man, we'll throw you on the 10-day IL as a precautionary measure. If your calf's not that bad, fine, so be it. 10 days off. You bring back Owen Casey, who, I mean, I don't know, Rich, the last time we called him up, he was only like a spark. He was a spark plug for the freaking offense. But no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's leave him on the bench for 6 days. And then once we really figure out if something's wrong with, he's hurt now. Oh, and we've only got about 2 weeks left. Okay. Yeah, sure. Fine. Whatever. And he's going to, when he comes back, he's going to bounce right back and everything's, it's horrible timing. It's horrible timing. And like you said, if he's hurt, he's hurt. Just treat it, put him on the IL. Be smart. I don't know if this is I don't know if it's a Tucker thing saying, no, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. I'll be fine. Leave me alone, whatever. Or if it's a Craig thing, or I don't know, but it's so head scratching.
It's really bizarre because, we've already been through this. We've seen this movie where he, like you touched on earlier, fractured it was a hairline fracture in his finger, and they didn't IL him for 2 months. They didn't address the issue. Do
you think at all it has a little to do with, and maybe not, but do you think this has anything to do with Tucker's not deaf. Tucker's not blind. He knows at the beginning of this year, everybody was talking about how this coming up off season, he's the next $500 million player. And he's had that in his head all year, and now it's kind of dropping down to 400 million. And here we are now. People have said his number may start with a 3 or even lower than that. And do you think any of this, like as far as with this injuries and him not going on the IL and everything like that, Do you think it's in his? Do you think at all that this has gotten in his head just a little bit? He's kind of like, well, I don't want to go on the IL right now because I don't want suitors to think that I'm injury prone, even though he's injury prone, and just hurt my value. Do you think
Yeah.
any of that has anything to do with it at all, or I'm just
Yes,
a
I
stupid
do.
guy with a mustache?
No, you're not stupid. Uh, I literally do, especially the hand injury. Because that
I
was,
agree. I think the hand injury for sure.
yeah, because that was in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the season when he was still, because after he got hurt, them in June, he was having a good month, right? He still
Yep.
played well while he was hurt. I still disagree with the idea of playing through the hairline fracture in his finger because it affects your hitting. It affects the adjustments that you have to make. And that's the exact thing that fucked up his swing in July and August is like that was the excuse that they gave at least is like, oh, well, the adjustments that he was forced to make because of playing through the hairline fracture in his finger caused him to slump super hard at the plate. And I'm like, okay, so if you came out of this with him slumping for a month and a half and tanking his offensive numbers, doesn't that hurt his chances of signing a $500 million contract anyway then? So maybe it probably would have just been better to IL him right when he got
Yeah.
hurt so he could come back as soon as possible healthy.
And
It's a hairline fracture in his finger, so it probably wouldn't have even taken that long to heal.
yeah, and not to squeeze and not to twist the knife even further, but you've got that. Plus, he's in this window right now where this offseason, this is it. As far as this is the offseason for him at his age to get his
Yeah,
money, because as we all know, the end of 2026, we're not playing ball for a few. It's not happening for a few months. We can
yeah,
be as optimistic as we want, and the commissioner and the player, they can say everything. It doesn't matter.
it's a sad,
Everybody
sad term.
knows there's probably not even a, make piss Cubs fans off, but there's a good chance there may not even be an All-Star game at Wrigley in 27. But with that being said, he's at that spot. He's at this spot right now where if he doesn't get everything that he possibly can this offseason, well, then you're looking at what, probably one of them little 1-year contracts with options type, a Cody Bellinger type thing. And then maybe I can bump my value up when that'll be his age 30 or 31 season. And then you've got a guy that's entering his 31-year-old season who has an injury history. What the hell? You're not going to get 400. You're not going to get $400 million for that or anything like that. So I get it. I do. I think that all has something to do with it as well. It sucks, but yeah,
Yeah,
here we are.
that's a good point. This is like make or break in terms of a long-term contract for him because if he, let's say he gets hurt or something, God forbid, and is not able to sign that mega deal that he wants, and he's forced to sign like a Cody Bellinger type deal with like opt-outs or something, you're probably never signing that big deal because nobody's going to give you that big money after the 26th season.
No.
Like I can't imagine any team is going to, any of these cheap ass owners are going to be giving out 7 to 10 year deals worth north of $300 million. I don't know. I doubt it. They're about to dig their heels in on a salary cap, which is why there's not going to be a beginning of the season anyway. So I don't know.
Sure.
This is also kind of
and that's an interesting comment. Yeah, for sure. I'd say if he goes off in the playoffs, carries us through the wild card, gets us gets him into the DS and possibly this whatever, the CS, whatever. I think if he does that, he shuts everybody up.
For sure. I mean, I think the point is like just get healthy. Stop screwing around. Put him on the IL if he's hurt.
Oh, for sure.
And give that roster spot to one of the young guys like they did today, like Moises Ballesteros, and also use guys like that instead of Carlos Santana.
Jesus Christ, yes,
or
please.
Even Willie Castro. Like I would rather see Kevin Alcantara or Owen Casey in right field than Willie Castro, even though Castro got a hit and a walk today. But still, it's like, why are these guys even coming up then if they're
if they're just going to ride the bench and there they are. And you could say, oh, well, they're going to get to watch these guys. They're going to get to talk to Justin Turner and Santana and all these veterans and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't care. When you're batting what 212, and I don't know what Santana's batting, but
he's batting 0 with the Cubs.
yeah, he's batting 0 with the Cubs. Like, you can have all the conversations you want. Cool. Are you helping the team win? No.
Yeah. Also, like we were talking about earlier, when Owen Casey came up, he provided a spark. So like, maybe you should let those guys try to provide a spark. I don't know. Kevin Alcantara's a pretty freaking exciting player, and I had fun watching him play center field, just running around because he's looked like a freaking gazelle out there. The dude's huge.
Oh, for sure. And people can say what they want about, oh, well, they're young and they're, I don't know if they're ready for the moment and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Not all young players are like that. They're not. Ask Randy Arozarena with Tampa back when he just carried the Rays in the playoffs. Ask David Price when he did it for the Rays in the playoffs. There's players out there that they don't, as far as being young and inexperienced, so what? There's some young players out there that have a nutsack about them, that have some FU about them, and like, so what? I don't care. I'm here. I'm gonna show up and let's see what happens. And why not try it? Why not try it?
I agree. Yeah. So that I think is all we got. But what's next on tap? So, we got one more game against Atlanta tomorrow, and Jamison Tyone is coming off the injured list to duel Chris Sale. That should be interesting because Chris Sale, even though he's been hurt with recovering from a broken rib for the last couple months, came back and has looked like his normal dominant self against the Phillies on August 30th. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts against the Mariners. Against the Mariners last week, 6 2/3, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
So I'm not too thrilled about the Cubs having to face Chris Sale, but I don't know. They need to get a win. They need to win this series. They can't. Yeah, they can't win. They can't drop 2 back-to-back series against teams like the Nationals and the Braves, who are well below 500 and out of the playoffs. Like, this is the time to be winning series and making hay and making sure you're making the playoffs. So,
for sure,
God forbid, just find a way to win a baseball game tomorrow so you can take this series.
Offensively, well, even JMO too. Treat this game like a playoff game.
Yeah.
As far as your mindset, like we've talked about with this game tonight, as far as yes, they won 6-1, but those early opportunities against a guy like, you can't tell me that Chris Sale doesn't want to come in tomorrow and just shove it down their throats for 9 innings. 9 innings. I guarantee you, if he's feeling good in the 7th, late in that game, he's looking at Brian Snitker and saying, "This is my game. I will kill you if you try to take me out." That's Chris Sale. That is Chris Sale. You don't think that, oh, well, just because it's the end of the year, he don't know. He wants to finish. It's just, I throw him in there with guys like Verlander with the Giants. They're not making the playoffs. He don't care. Hell, he threw 120 pitches in 5 innings the other day. Chris Sale's going to want to shove it down their throats. Don't blame him. But offensively, they need to do a better job than they did early in the game tonight, as far as when it comes to taking advantage of those opportunities that you have, bases loaded, less than 2 outs. You've got to do a job, even if that means just putting the ball in play. Just putting the ball in play and not taking bad ABs like, Carson Kelly had earlier in the game and twice, and Nico Horner in the first. We can't have that. We cannot have that. So, you have to find a way to win tonight. And I don't care, not to keep going on, but I get it. It's the end of the year. You can say what you want about, oh, well, the Dodgers are struggling and the Padres are struggling and these teams the Mets are struggling. I don't care. I don't care about those teams. I care about our team, and it is really, really important. Yeah, you're more than likely going to make the playoffs, but it is so important to finish these last few series and games on high notes heading into the playoffs. Because if you think that this team is just going to, just sit back and kind of just weasel their way in, even though they're playing poor ball, and if you think that they're just going to, oh, well, here's the playoffs, we're going to snap it on, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you got to finish this. You got to finish this month off strong, and it starts with winning the series tomorrow.
Yeah, gotta. I mean, you're only 2.5 games up on the Padres in the wild card standing,
Yep.
so you got to continue to win games and stack wins.
And it's like we talked about pre-show. This Padres team can get hot at any moment, any moment. So, yeah.
I have a stat that might piss you off a little bit.
Let's hear it.
So I'm looking at the like the stats that Cubs hitters have against Chris Sale over their career, and God. Carlos Santana in 47 by far has the most at bats against Chris Sale.
Yeah.
47 at bats is batting 298 with an 857 OPS. So
he's starting first base tomorrow.
Craig Counsell is going to put him in the lineup.
Oh yeah, there is no chance that Michael Busch is starting tomorrow at all. It'll be Carlos Santana at first base and Justin Turner DHing.
Even though all these at bats probably came like 10 years ago when Carlos
10 years ago when he was an MVP candidate
and Chris Sale was on the White Sox. So
yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
So can look forward to Carlos Santana probably being in the lineup tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's happening.
But yeah, I mean, come on. Like the Cubs have seen Chris Sale. They know, everybody knows Chris Sale, right? Like you can win a game against Chris Sale. You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
So after that, we got a short little series at home against the Rays, 3 games, and then they hit the road and played Pittsburgh and Cincinnati on a 7-game road trip. And after that, there's only 2 more series, Mets and Cardinals at home. We're in the home stretch here. There's only 2 weeks left of ball, basically.
After tomorrow, was there 5 series left?
Yep.
Rays, Pirates, Reds,
Mets.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
This is it's coming up fast here. I don't know if I'm ready for playoff baseball right now.
Man, I love this. I love this time of year, and I love that. I love the playoff time of year and everything like that. It's crazy how fast this is. It's here, man. It's here.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, the Bears are already blowing football games, so we're in the
Bears are being the Bears. Let's I tell you what. Let's do something for Bears fans to get their minds off that team for just a few more weeks, because as much as we all want the Bears to succeed and be successful and all that kind of stuff, in the back of our heads, everybody probably knows our guys at Bears on Tap, which shout out to those guys, give them a follow. We probably all know just in the deep inside what's more than likely going to happen this season. So let's just, if this Cubs team can just give them a little bit more time to not even have to think about it. Just don't even watch the games until after baseball season's over. And, hey, if that happens to be just at the end of October, great.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be ideal. Yeah. And then hopefully by that time, the Bears will get their heads screwed on straight.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe so.
Just maybe the sports gods will give, Chicago sports fans something this year.
Something.
Cubs are our hope, man. All right, folks. If you have any final thoughts, Tyler, before we wrap things up here?
Well, earlier this show, I'm not one to brag, Rich. I did win my fantasy football matchup, but today got something in the mail today, because you probably don't know, but last year I won my fantasy football league. Hadn't played in 10 years. Couldn't name you 5 players, and I won. And what did I get for winning?
Damn, look at that.
I got the gold.
He got
playing for Bearcats League champion. I know some of y'all watch this right here. The Afton Trevors. It's a college thing. But Coach Biddle, if you're watching, this is the closest you're ever gonna get. The closest you're ever. I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I'm on the mountain. I just sleep on that.
He just called you out on TV,
Rich,
son.
I'm not one to brag, but
no, of course not. Why would you ever do that?
It's good to be champ. But yeah,
the people's champion over here.
Other than that,
sexy championship belt. I like that. That's an awesome reward.
Yeah, but other than that, look, if your team's in the race or not, I know we may have some other people that don't listen to, or that aren't huge Cubs fans. Maybe you follow another team. get out and if you can, go to a game. There's only five, like we said, there's only 5 series left. Try to go because hey, it'll be gone before you know it. So yeah. I think we're gonna try to go to the Mets, one of the Mets games, I think.
There you go. Yeah, at the end of the day, catching a game at Wrigley Field, there's nothing like it. The atmosphere is just stupendous. And especially now that it's getting a little bit cooler out, it's not so hot and sticky at the ballpark. It was pretty lovely on Sunday, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I bet it was. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is going to wrap her up for this Cubs on Tap podcast. Make sure, you send this out around to your friends, like, share, subscribe to us on, YouTube, X, Facebook, all the good stuff to keep up to date on all of our Cubs coverage, and do the same for all of our other teams, the Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks on tap, Sox on tap too. They got one of those as well. So yeah. And again, if you are making a purchase at Obvious Shirts in the near future, make sure you use the promo code ONTAPSports for 10% off your purchase. Helps us. It helps everybody here at Comes On Tap to continue giving you the coverage and the content that we love to deliver. So with that, let's get out of here the only way we know how, Tyler.
Hey, St. Louis, we'll see you at the end of the month to smack you around a little bit more just for shits and giggles. And at the end of it, it's just another reason why we say F the Cardinals.
F the Cardinals, F the Braves, and F the Brewers too, just for good measure.
Yeah, just for good measure. And hey, let's go Cubs.
Go Cubs, go, baby.